Ready. Check Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. I said Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rewriters Room. We are, as you know, the infamous men with the pen. I am one third of this incredible trio. They call me the Brock Lesnar of broadcasting. They call me the Paul Heyman of podcasting. They call me the John Cena of journalism. They call me the Roman Reigns of rhetoric. Actually, I call myself that, but I'm looking forward to when it sticks, and y'all will be saying it with me when you're listening to the recording of this. But for now, you can just call me Armon Sadler. I am here with my incredible tag team, as always. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
What's good to CC, the best rapper and producer in the whole wide world, God body, because I consume healthy products and do towel curls, benevolent servant to the earth, and philanthropist. Everything, I fucked that up, philanthropist. And every phrase that I say is a gem like amethyst. You could put any nigga next to me, dope ass women, gonna be chilling. You know what I mean? Motherfucking quarter roll down the way. Some guy comes pick it up. Oh, excuse me, ladies. They're like, nigga, why you picking up a quarter? And it's like, oh, I need to go to a payphone. Payphone? What the fuck is a payphone? These are Gen Z kids. They don't know what's going on. They're like, yo, whose man's is this? I could tell them it's not me. I may talk a lot, but I only got one thing to say. Love yourself and keep going. You are the world, so give all you can. Take care of your body and your land. Where the hell is my nigga Chan?
What's going on? What's going on? Grandpa Chan reporting live for the mid-card. Mid-card Mafia. We're back. We're so back that the women even getting a mid-card now. It's a new era. It's a brave new world we're in, and just happy to be here.
This is actually a very exciting time for the mid-card, and we can get into that a little later when we get into our pre-write. Mm-hmm. But first, we got to start off with our Patreon segment. So for all of our Patreon subscribers, as you know, we've got a fun before we write trivia game coming and some random questions and discussion. So first, I want to start off with this. As I just saw this tweet, and I've got two men who, while they're great wrestling minds, they're also great music minds, I would like to say. And this tweet seems like it's going to cause a lot of contention. I'm not checking the quotes now, but I'm sure they're going crazy. And this tweet is related to none other than Drake, who always gets the people going. So someone tweeted, Drake has 5 classics with multiple question marks. It seems like he did not agree with that notion. Fellas, how many classic albums do you feel Drake has?
I gotta say, like, at minimum, I'm gonna say like 2 at minimum. Okay. Depending on how old you are, I think you can add more to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you can't debate Take Care, and to me, you can't debate Nothing Was the Same. Mm-hmm. Like, I personally would include like What a Time to Be Alive. That's because I was in college. Like, I don't know if that hits for everybody, but y'all know that energy rang out when you was at a party. So like, there's stuff like that where it's like, maybe some, like, I love Dark Lane demo tapes. So I would say at least 2. Depending on who you ask.
Yeah. 2. Because the only reason why he doesn't have more is because he likes 20 songs an album.
Yeah.
Some people have done it. It's really like a feat to be able to do it. Like, not a lot of people have done it, but it's very hard to get off 20 songs and to feel like from start to finish, like, or even feel like amongst the 20 songs, like, I got a good enough amount out of what I got to be like, okay, this is like really great or whatever. But yeah, no, I would just say 2. If I was to ease in like a 3, personally for me, that third one would be If You're Reading This, because that nigga was stupid. Yeah. That was If You're Reading This was the moment where he like looked around and was like, oh, there's no one else up here with me. Mm-hmm. That was that moment, because that was the first thing he released, and it was like, wait, what do we call this, like an album or a mixtape? And from that moment on, he was just like, nigga, if I'm giving y'all music, just take it. I don't care. I'll call it shit a playlist. I'll call it that, and y'all niggas gonna listen, and they did.
I will say, to CC's point, that like, between probably Views and More Life, there is a classic album in there, but it's like sandwiched with like 5 other songs. Like if you took the best 10
that's
songs
actually
on
true.
Views, that is a classic album. Like if you took just like one day, like just took those songs out, you have a classic album. And same with like More Life. Like you could pick 12 songs and be like, yeah, this is like a classic album, but it's just there's 14 other songs.
And he lucky he not lucky, like he's been able, the other thing is like, yeah, I feel that same thing. Like the later half of his career, this last 6 years has just been like a combination of like there's like all these songs that like, you know, are kind of good or whatever, and then like, you know, a handful of these songs that are like amazing, but they're like spread out or whatever. So that's just kind of it. Like, you know, you look at Views or whatever, and it's like a lot of people like to talk a lot about that album or whatever. But the one thing that's not debatable at all that everyone understands is that Feel No Ways is like one of the greatest songs to like made.
Yes.
I tried.
There's more to life.
Yo, this shit is crazy.
There's more to life than sleeping in and getting high with you. Like when that line dropped in the spring of 2016, when I'm in my off-campus apartment, thinking about how it really is more to life than sleeping in and getting high with a certain person, I'm just like, damn, Drake, like you cold, you cold.
Yeah, man.
I think that I would agree with y'all. Like in terms of getting a general consensus among people, Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, I think will always be the ones that everyone agrees with. I see a lot of people say So Far Gone. And I think because that's so
his first,
that's so influential in introducing the larger world to him. Like I feel that I think a lot of times we do conflate classic and influential though. Like I'd go So Far Gone as more influential than classic because I think he got better at his formula with Take Care and Nothing Was the Same.
For sure.
I would also agree if you're reading this just because the way that dropped in college, like Chan, I think you went to BSC that year. Where we just played that on the bus the entire ride down there to Yale, like the entire time, over and over and over. I think you had the kickback where we had like a listening party for it too.
I torrented it.
Like that was just such a crazy time. I think other people may not agree, but just for me personally, I would probably say that's a classic as well. So I've got those 3 Views. Again, Views very influential. Classic. It's hard. It's really hard for me to say. And I agree, he got a lot more indulgent as he got later into his career, which I applaud. He tries to appeal to a lot of different people. Yeah. But, you know, I think a huge metric for people of a classic album is it being focused, it being not necessarily concise, but like firing at a high clip. And there is a good amount of fat you can trim from Views. So I would agree with that. But just a cool question I want to ask to get the wheels turning in our minds. Our next question: what is the most random wrestling match that you love? You might feel like it's a classic or influential, but you feel like people just never talk about it.
This is like, I don't even know if it was a massive moment. And I think what happens is the moment overshadows the match and even the lead up to the match. But I really love Survivor Series. I believe it's 2005. Yeah, where it's like, that's the one where you had like Big Show and Kane, and they was just wrecking the SmackDown roster against like Batista and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's the year Randy's the sole survivor. And like it's him and Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels eliminates like JBL. It's a really like fun match. But the end moment is Randy's sole survivor, everyone's cheering, and then Undertaker returns, burning casket. It's like that's obviously seared into everyone's mind because that was such an iconic moment. But like that match was really fun for me, and I just love like matches like that where it's like Survivor Series and it's just these random teams of like all half main eventers and like some random mid carder with them. Like Chris Masters and Carlito were also in that match with like Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels and it's like
and
it's
Batista,
just
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
I think Rey Mysterio was on that team too. It was Ray, JBL, Batista, Lashley, and Orton. That's a crazy team. That's a fire team.
Against Carlito and Chris Masters. Like, why are they But it's just fun. So it was a really fun match. So I really
they had the rocket on Carlito, bro. Like that's I think that's something I'm always gonna remember as a kid. Like his first night on SmackDown, he beat John Cena. His first night on Raw, he beat Shelton Benjamin for the Intercontinental title. Like the fucking rocket was on his back. But
Spin
I agree.
The face, man.
I actually watched that match recently. I was like, yeah, this is a really good match. Like everything around it was bigger, and some moments were sloppy, but it was, like you said, it was a fun match, a really fun match. CC, how about you, bro?
This is like hella random. It's very, very random. It's not one match in particular, but it's just like this person's wrestling matches I hear like are not really talked about a lot. Like you hear this person brought up and they're like, oh yeah, they were good or blah, blah, but they're never the person that people are just like, this is my favorite wrestler or something like that. If you go back and you look in the early 2000s, like 2002, 2003, 2004, like around that time, even maybe as early back as 2001, but definitely around like the 2002 era or whatever. Somebody who like would put on a solid match to the point to where you're following the story easily, and they consistently did it, which is what makes you a really good wrestler or whatever. Hardcore Holly, like Hardcore Holly had this
nice.
like he could like be plugged into a match. And like, he's not going to fuck it up. Whatever story needs to be told, if he needs to be the one taking like the big finish, he's going to sell it or whatever. If he needs to punish a guy, he's going to fucking beat the fuck out of the guy. If he needs to take the fucking punishment, he's going to let them beat the shit out of him. Like, he's one of those guys. Like, and then also on top of that, like the actual wrestling, like he was clean and smooth.
He was nice.
He was just one of those guys who, like, as a kid, I was like, it'd be interesting to like see if he like got the title and like had a run one time or whatever. But I just remember like thinking even back then, I was like, this is clean. Like, he's going up to hit a drop kick. That shit is clean. Yeah. He's going up to go off the ropes. Like, he's doing this. It's clean. He's pretty quick. So yeah, he was one for me. Like,
what's funny about sorry.
No, you're good.
Hardcore Holly. I know, like, of course, Mid-Card Mafia, one of my faves, love his moves. But like, I'm sure he like looks at like the era, we're gonna look at like 2011-ish WWE and seeing guys like Sheamus and Dolph get world title runs. He's like, I was like 10 years too early. Like that would have been, because like you said, all his matches was fire. He would, if it was like, a triple threat random number one contenders match, he's always in it, always in the hardcore title division. So like, he's that, like Sheamus and Dolph are those kind of guys where it's like, just you count on them. If they got to be in a tag, they can be in a tag. If they got to be by themselves, they can do it. But like, just for whatever reason, in 2011, there was no one else on the roster. So Sheamus and Dolph got to be world champions, and Hardcore Holly was there with like The Rock, Triple H, and it just never hit for him.
Literally everyone on the card was more popular than him at all times.
Yeah. Like, I could be wrong, but I think his only singles world title match was against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble in 2004. And like, granted, like it was a good blood feud. Like, Brock broke his neck like a year prior. Hardcore Holly came back, like he was fired up. I was like, oh shit! Like there was no moment where I doubted Brock was going to win. But like, it was like, oh wow! Like they actually got a good feud out of this. Like, good feud. And but by that point, like, they probably could have done without Hardcore Holly. And he actually stuck around for a while longer. He was a world tag team champion with Cody Rhodes in like 2008. Like, it's Hardcore's got a fascinating career. So my picks: 1, Shield versus New Day opened Survivor Series 2017. Fantastic match. I don't know if I'm in my own bubble and like people don't talk about that match, but like it was really good coming off the Shield reuniting. Roman had that virus, so he had to miss the TLC match they had with Braun and Sheamus and Cesaro and Miz, and Kane was on that team too. So like them coming back together, New Day was leading SmackDown, putting Raw under siege, and like the match itself was fantastic. And these are two of the greatest factions ever going at it. I just feel like people don't talk about that one enough. So really weird. My second pick, this is kind of burying the lead for what our rewrite will be later, but the finals of the 2011 WWE Championship Tournament, Rey Mysterio versus The Miz, that they had a 13-minute match, but it was a banger, and I really enjoyed it because Miz is typically not the bigger man in his matches, so he fights a very finesse, dirty style, but him being much bigger than Rey Mysterio allowed him to kind of be a powerhouse and like really bully Rey. And I think we give Bully Ray. That's funny. I think we give Miz his credit now for his in-ring work. Like 2011, he was still a little green, but he was young and they had a lot invested in him. But like, he actually wrestled a really good match and showed he could do different styles there. So I would say go out of your way to watch that match. We're going to be talking about it in the rewrite anyway, so there'll be some context there. But cool. Now let's jump into our Before We Write trivia segment. I will be asking the questions today. Chan is in the lead in all of our trivia games. I think he's got 4 wins. I've got 1. CC doesn't have any currently, but today could be the day. And so for our Patreon subscribers, actually for the public as well, you're going to get the first question. If you want the full segment, you got to subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/The A Show, RNC. So let's get into this very first question about a certain luchador. So, who did Rey Mysterio win his first tag team championship with in WWE?
Eddie Guerrero?
Wrong.
No, was it
Edge?
Conan?
It was Edge. Channing, good job. It was Edge.
Oh wait, you said it. Well, wait, I was thinking WCW. What? My bad. I just said a whole nigga who wasn't even in the company. Wow.
Let's go, public listeners. So, if you are not subscribed to the Patreon, then you did hear our first question, but you also missed some very fun questions that I asked the guys, talking about Drake and talking about random matches that we love, and of course, the full Before We Write segment. So, if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, patreon.com/The A Show, RNC. And you can also get bonus content from The A Show, from the War Report, Invasion Diaries, X8 Diaries. Meal's got some more diaries coming. You can answer our question of the week, a bunch of other things. If you're not subscribed to that Patreon, I don't really know what you're doing with yourself. So we're here. Let's jump into our pre-write. I'm going to start because I am experiencing a mix of emotions. So I didn't get to watch SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live, funny. I actually went to go see Nope. And I was
real quick, just like real short. You don't got to give no spoilers. How would you think?
I was entertained by it. I'm still figuring out what the plot meant, though.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
That's all I got. But I found myself equally confused by Nope as I was with what I saw when I checked Twitter at the end of SmackDown on Friday night, because I saw a face that I haven't seen in a little while and that I didn't expect to see back, jumping my Scottish king, Drew McIntyre, as Drew is engaged in a verbal jousting with Roman Reigns. Karrion Kross and Scarlett are back. We know Triple H loved Karrion Kross. Someone in the Discord described it as like Triple H's wet dream. Like Karrion's got all the bondage and the masks, and he kind of looks like a knight. Like Triple H loved that knight-like attire and stuff, and Karrion kind of looked like that when he was in the Eve. We know H loved him. He got the title fast as hell in his first run, got hurt, came back, got the title not as fast, but like they had him beat Finn at NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. Triple H clearly loves that man, and Karrion's back. Now, I think it obviously bolsters the SmackDown roster, whether you like him or not. SmackDown needs good heels. Sheamus is great, don't get me wrong. Sheamus is kind of like a good hand, though. Like, the gap between Roman and Sheamus as heels on SmackDown is pretty large. Karrion, just being generally disliked, and the positions that he's put in is a good, second heel on SmackDown. I'm going to choose to be Team Lipo, as we are on the A Show Network. I'm going to let it play out. Do I love it? No. If Karrion's the one who takes the pin and Drew's champion, then I'll be perfectly fine. I just need Drew to become champion. It's really it. So hopefully Karrion doesn't, hinder that. But I'm gonna, I trust Triple H. He's done really well so far in his time, at the helm. I don't love this move, but like I said, I'm choosing to be lipo about it.
What did I tell you Hunter was going to do? What did I say? One thing Triple H going to do is get himself over. You know that, bro. That is what he does. I was like, of course. It didn't surprise me at all. I was honestly more surprised that they did it this early and didn't wait until after the Drew thing was resolved. But I was like, of course he's in the main event. Of course if he comes. Like, Triple H has his people. And as you've seen, and it's funny, the memes on Twitter, but if you look at every single match, Ricochet, Shayna, like, this is Triple H has his people, and at least at first he's going to get them over. Like, that's just what he's going to do. So I'm sure, and you see the reports, I don't know if it's really not about them wanting to split the titles up. Karrion, Cody, they're going to be up there, bro. It's going to happen. And you just got to just make peace with it. And like you said, I like the entrance. Karrion as a person, I don't really care for it, so I'm kind of middling on it. And so, but it's like there was no reality in which it would happen. Just wait till Randy Orton comes back. See what happens then. Like, just wait till Randall comes back and see if we don't have an 800-day world champion. Like, yeah. So I'm like you, lipo, but not surprised, at least.
Well, we can move on. I don't want to talk about Karrion anymore.
Scarlett Bordeaux is really hot. So
woo! Hey! I got no problem with her.
Yeah,
her hair looked a little crazy. I don't know about that look. try something else. Maybe like I don't know, but that wasn't giving. But everything else, fantastic.
Yeah.
CC, what you got for your pre-write, my guy?
Man, look, since we're talking about Triple H, I was thinking about something when it comes to the E and how Triple H is going to book things. But it wasn't just about that. He was talking about taking the company to the heights or whatever. And if you look at any video of him talking about it, like, I don't know, like I've worked for, a couple, I've had the fortunate pleasure of like being close to the person running the company and whatever when I've like had jobs and stuff a few times. And you can clearly see like when a company is going to go somewhere or whatever based on how excited that person is about what they're doing. And when that person is geeked up, they start talking a certain way. I saw Triple H talking that way. And then I thought about like what Triple H's experience with wrestling was. And then I was like, oh shit, I have a prediction about wrestling that is not just due to Triple H, but also everyone who's also around wrestling in the time, not even the people just in the E or whatever. But if you think back to like the 90s and whatnot, even the 80s or whatever, like wrestling like had like sort of a grip on certain people and it was like super duper popular. And it was like very integrated into like popular culture or whatever. Like multiple people knew like references and whatnot. Everyone knew who Stone Cold and The Rock were. Like that was a thing. And I think the main thing when I think about that is like, oh, when Triple H was like at one of his heights during his career, this being DX and stuff like that, one of the things he was able to tap into was how to get the people who are in that like really coveted demo, that 18 to 25 or whatever, but the popular part of that crowd, like the everyday person or whatever, how to get them interested in this product that's like actually really niche. So I think one of the things that we're going to see over the next like 3 to 5 years is like wrestling go from this thing to where like, yes, it's like big and like, yes, the WWE universe is big, it's expanded its fan base and whatnot, but like it's going to go back to that thing to where like, oh, like the rest of popular culture also knows about this and is kind of in tune with this as it's going on. They know Roman Reigns. They know like people, like you can just reference that to like random people, like the same way we, like every one of our generation just knows like certain wrestlers and like we didn't have to talk about how much we watched it or not or whatever. Like I think there's a chance for that to happen or whatever. And honestly, but when you look at it between NXT and who's on WWE or whatever, a lot of people are already doing things like that or whatever right now. Like Xavier Woods with Up, Up, Down, Down. Like he's done all the work that you need to be done. The foundation's laid. You just carry that into the rest of the gaming community. You know what I mean? And Roman with him going on TV shows and stuff like that, you have your face that you could put in different parts of media and stuff like that. Same thing with Bianca and whatnot. Like you have all these people that you can use in all these different ways. So yeah, I think we're right for seeing like WWE become like a part of popular culture. Like, not to say that it's not like a part of popular culture now or whatever, but like I mean to the point where it's regular and people just like know about it without even knowing how they know about it. They just know about it.
I think part of that too, and I might take too long, but it's just like you said, I think what WWE really needs is like because wrestler who is into the mainstream, who's like an actor, but is also cool. Because I think as I love John Cena, wrestling fans love John Cena, but John Cena's character in wrestling isn't like the coolest guy. Like he wears like shorts and stuff. Whereas, like you said, with the Stone Cold, with The Rock, like that, The Rock is just cool. Like you can see pictures of The Rock from 1990 SmackDown. You're like, this is the coolest person on earth. Like this guy is like he got a leopard silk shirt up and like sunglasses inside. It's probably 9:30 at night. Like that's the coolest guy on the planet. And so I think, yeah, someone like a Roman or a Bianca whose character is cool, who like they just have a certain type of like, if you watch a wrestling match and you see, like I remember I posted the video of when Roman caught that mic from Brock. And the amount of non-wrestling fans who comment, like, who is that? It's like, it's like that's it sounds like kind of simple, but that's what you need. Whereas like John Cena is like a cool guy, he's a good actor, but you know, he's not super like cool. And then Batista doesn't really wrestle anymore, so he doesn't really appeal to that. But I think someone like Roman or Bianca, who was like held on to the wrestling stuff, but it was also just cool. Like all it takes is Bianca to be in like one Black Girl Magic Beyonce music video,
bro.
One Fenty commercial, bro. That's all we need. That's
my
all
girl
we
had
need.
to see her on TV like maybe 1 or 2 times tops or whatever, and like she's like, "Where is she gonna be there? When is she gonna be on it? Tell me when she's gonna be on it." Like it's crazy.
Yeah. 100%. Chan, how about you, man?
Kind of similar to what you were saying. I do think it was funny you talking about how Triple H like nights. I was gonna take it he just likes the dark and occult. I think it's because he was in Blade 3. I think he just has a soft spot in his heart for that.
An amazing. I'm sorry, I'll stand by that fucking movie.
Great trilogy.
I love that movie.
I love Wesley Snipes, and I will not hear one false word about a single Blade movie. I simply won't. That was one of my first black superheroes, and I won't stand for it. But yeah, similarly, Karrion Kross, Shayna Baszler's getting heated back up. It's my girl, submission magician. You know,
bro, what have I been saying on the show for like the last year and a half?
Yeah, you've been calling it.
Yeah. Why has she not had a solo women's title match? Thank you, Triple H. He gives and he takes.
He gives and he takes. He's a complicated guy. But yeah, it's like it sounds bad, but like you have Ronda Rousey, who's incredibly popular, but like that menacing factor, if you're looking for that, Shayna Baszler is that. Like Shayna Baszler, I look at Shayna Baszler as in no bullshit. She's intimidating. Like she looks scary. Like and it's like that's the type of threat where I see Liv Morgan as a babyface. If you want her to get over as like an underdog, like she defeated this monster, it's got to be Shayna. Because like people don't really like Ronda Rousey because of like the extra stuff, but it's not as if like she has this heat because like she's just so mean and people are so afraid of her. It's just like, no, I just know she can actually fight. Whereas Shayna Baszler, like from the gear to the eye makeup to the presentation to the moveset, it's all very menacing, intimidating. Like heating her back up to how she was Elimination Chamber, I think it's just such a great idea. And I just love that for the women's division. Like I said, just for wrestling in general, I think you need good, strong heels. Shayna Baszler, I think, is a perfect heel. I'm super happy that she's back in the spotlight.
Turn that Elimination Chamber, Shayna, the fuck up.
Yes, man. Come on,
turn
bro.
that shit up.
Come on. She bit Becky's neck. She everybody in that Elimination Chamber, including Liv. Including Liv. She put Liv to sleep.
Yeah, he did.
I hope that they call back to that. I really hope they call back. It's like, hey, Liv, like, I'm getting this title off you at Clash. I put you to sleep before. Like
she talks like that. That's how she talks. She's like, Liv, I'm not afraid of you. Like she'll just say to her, I'm not scared of you, Liv. Like
she'll say, I'm gonna take your title and one of your limbs. You pick which one, and I'm gonna take it. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Let's jump into this free write. Oh man, we are at a very interesting crossroads with the Street Profits. They lost once again to the Usos at SummerSlam. Montez Ford lost a singles match to Seth Rollins and and was beat up after the match as well. Now, the prevailing thought is that Montez is going to be the one to turn. I think that they're going to pull an okie doke on us and have Dawkins be the one who turns. However, I also would enjoy if they kind of just like naturally split up through the draft and didn't have to do a breakup angle with them. Would it be fire? Of course. I think Dawkins would be an amazing heel, and I think it would help Montez as a babyface. So, Cece, I want to ask you, if you're presented with splitting up the Street Profits and having either doing like a tense breakup angle or just splitting them up through the draft, which one would you go with?
Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Batista, Triple H, Randy Orton.
It goes a long way.
Edge, Rey Mysterio, Edge and Batista. There's just like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker and everyone really. Brock and even The Rock is something I'd love to see we go back to. But there's just certain, people, couples in the WWE who have history or whatever. And because they have history, you can use that almost at any time. And we're seeing it now with Seth and Roman, you see how they like literally almost any time, like we just saw it. Seth was just like, all right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Roman, and everybody's like, yeah, because anytime those two are going for it at high stakes, we want to see it. I personally believe that Dawkins has everything that it takes to sit on the main roster for years and years and years, / get called up and be that person if he needs to be. At his very worst, he's a Sheamus, at his worst, I think. I don't think there's a huge, large, crazy gap between him and Tez or whatever. That being said, because of that, I think like what you do is you protect both of them and have them split up in the draft or whatever, right? And then what you do is you just send them on different paths, and then like maybe one wins a little bit more than they lose and one loses a little bit more than they wins. And then like Survivor Series is when they meet back up again because they haven't been on the same brand or whatever. And then like they meet back up again, and you know, the one is in a situation where the other one like really needs help or whatever. And I would love for it to be Dawkins. Like maybe Tez needs help. Dawkins comes out. You think he's gonna help him? Boom, that's where you do the turn. And it's just like, so you have this thing to where it's just like you guys got split up, and then like the next time you saw each other like wasn't cool. So like the first thing you have to do is get to the bottom of like where did that even come from? You know what I mean? Like it gives you a story to unfold. Like Tez, it's something to figure out. Tez is trying to figure out, hey, why do you feel this way about me or whatever? And then just like the going back and forth from there is going to create the history that they then build upon, and they can come back to time and time again or whatever. So that's how I would do it. I'll have it split or whatever, and then you know give them a little bit of time apart, and then the next time that they saw each other, maybe do one time they see each other and it's just like, hey, how you doing, checking up or whatever. But like that next time, it looks like one is going to save the other, and really what he does is turn on the other, and then boom, there we go.
Yeah, I like that. I think it would be interesting if they both ended up on like opposing Survivor Series teams and like had like a stare down, or even you work it into the buildup, because like they haven't really done too many invasion angles the last few. Like the teams haven't interacted at all. The men's 5-on-5 teams, which, you know, 2020 COVID, I get it. 2021 ain't really make sense. Like they should be back in it. So I think like mixing that into the SmackDown versus Raw stuff would be dope. So I like that. Channing, for you, are we going to get multiple months out of this Edge and Judgment Day feud? And are Rey, Mysterio, and Dom going to stay involved? If they're not, how do you kind of spin them out of it and make it so that Edge is the focus going up against Finn and Priest and Rhea?
In short, I hope not. Basically, where I'm at right now with Edge, love Edge, rated R, superstar, but he's like lost a little bit too much since his return, and I just feel like not that he needs a win. Like Edge is Edge, he can lose, but I just feel like for his storyline, if you want to get him back in the world title picture, I feel like he kind of needs a win. Like he needs a comeback feud where he wins, goes over, and look good. Similar situation is Finn Balor. I feel like they're in the same spot where, like, yes, you can warm up Finn Balor and Edge any time, but I just feel like if you want to put either of them in the main event picture, they need to win their next feud. It just feels that way. Like, Finn's got this new faction, Edge has come back, and so if one of them has to lose the feud, I feel like that's not where I want things to go. So I would hope that it's like a quick thing and they separate, unless we're getting a 6-person tag match with Rhea Ripley in it, and like Rhea is wrestling like Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio, because like realistically, Rhea is bigger than Dominic and Rey. So like I get, obviously she's a woman, but like Rhea Ripley could powerbomb Rey Mysterio through a table, and I would 100% believe it. Like that looks like you said, Miz is rarely the bigger person, but against Rey he was. You saw what Rhea did to Dom, put him in that triangle chokehold. Like you think she can't hit that riptide on Rey Mysterio? Like, you're kidding. So I think that could be a cool kind of thing too if she somehow gets to wrestle them. But like I would prefer it if Dom turns on Rey, and then he goes heel, and then that's how they get out the feud, and then Dom goes to like NXT or something. And then I would prefer it if Finn won, somehow dirtily beat Edge, and then Finn gets in either like the US title picture or whatever they're doing in their main event. And then I want Edge to win the Elimination Chamber and win the WWE Championship. I don't think he'll look good with the Universal Championship. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. All right. And for me, this women's tag team tournament that'll start on Raw. By the time you guys hear this, the tournament will have progressed. But it seems very likely that we will see the return of Sasha Banks and Naomi in this women's tag team tournament. So I'm interested in who they should face in the finals. I think that Doudrop and Nikki deserve a moment. I think that they've been really good, like consistently putting on really good matches. I think they're a fun team. I also feel like this is a cool moment. And I'm curious about with Bayley's new faction, with Io Sky and Dakota Kai, whether they're going to push Bayley as the single star fighting for the Raw Women's title, or if they're going to push Io. I think there's an opportunity with Io. She's talented enough. She's very well known. People like her. She's a fresh face in that division. Obviously, you can easily go back to Bianca Bailey. We never got that I Quit match, but this is also a really good opportunity to introduce someone new to the Raw Women's title division. And then with that, you get a good team of Bailey and Dakota, where Bailey can mentor someone who's new to the main roster and really kind of, groom Dakota, give her moments to shine, and kind of have that veteran rookie tag team dynamic. Bailey's obviously got history with Sasha Banks, so like whoever wins that could spin off into the next women's tag team title feud, and like you have more important people in that. You've got a fresh new face in Dakota. You've got Bailey, who's like a 3-time women's tag team champion at this point, 2-time. Where like there are important people there, and it's not just a makeshift team of Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler, or Natalya and Tamina. Like it's actually a team that like was a faction introduced to us and like can come in and do what they got to do. And I think just whatever they end up doing with Sasha Banks and Naomi, like they're in for a very interesting next few months. So yeah, I think that I would have Bailey and Dakota face them, but I wouldn't mind if those do drop at Nikki either. So for our rewrite, we kind of talked about this guy a bit throughout the episode so far, but we are rewriting the greatest luchador of all time, arguably one of the greatest baby faces of all time, one of the most influential wrestlers of all time. And I think when you think about WWE, there are the obvious names that come up. These two are problematic, but a couple years ago, you would think Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. These days, you might lean more towards a Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, Triple H. But I think Rey Mysterio is one of the most recognizable athletes to ever, grace the squared circle, whether it's the mask, whether it's just like his storylines. He's the guy that we always wanted to root for throughout his time as a 3-time cruiserweight champion, a 4-time tag team champion, I think 5-time actually, a 3-time world champion, 2 times world heavyweight, 1-time WWE champion. The man entered, we believe it was second in the 2006 Royal Rumble. Oh, 2000. You good? He entered second in the 2006 Royal Rumble and lasted 60-something minutes to win it. He won in the main event of WrestleMania 22. He's given us incredible moments like, the Great Khali packing him up, squeezing the life out of him. The stretcher match where Big Show had him on the stretcher and hit him against the pole. He's given us so many incredible moments where we've wanted to root for him. This is from early 2000s all the way up to now. He's still doing it now. I do have some interesting takes about Rey. I think some people would agree with these. I think some people would be offended, but they'd probably agree later on. Granted, his world title runs have all been pretty short, especially one where he won it and lost it in the same night. But much like when Sasha Banks has been, women's champion, or much like I'm trying to think of some other baby faces who we wanted to get it and then they got it, and we're just like, eh. Rey's more interesting as someone chasing. Like his title reigns, to me, have never really been all that memorable. The ones I remember the most, Rey had the cruiserweight division on his back in 2000s, the early 2000s. Like Rey was a fantastic cruiserweight champion. Great matches with Matt Hardy and Jamie Noble and Billy Kidman and all these guys. As a tag team champion, he's been pretty good too. He had a great run with RVD. He had a great run with Batista. He had a great run with Edge, and now being teamed up with his son Dom. Like he's had some fun runs with the tag team championship. But like think about his reign as U.S. champion. You probably don't even remember it.
I don't think about it.
Think about his time as Intercontinental champion. Granted, he had a great feud with Jericho. Like when they did Mask versus title, like that was a fantastic feud. But Rey has honestly been the most interesting to me as either chasing a big title or being the cruiserweight or a tag team champion. And I think it's just because, just being honest, his size plays a big part of it. Like he's the type of guy that you want to root for. But then you see him with that title, it just looks huge around his waist. Like at the end of the day, they're giving you that moment, that they're drawing you in, they're appealing to what people want to see, but ultimately, someone bigger than him is going to come and get that title on him. You had Kane cashing Money in the Bank on him one night. You had Chavo screw him for King Booker to win the title. And then, of course, what we're going to talk about later, John Cena winning the WWE title from him the very same night he wins it the first time. Like, it's tough to see, but one thing Ray always gave, whether he was winning or losing, was compelling TV, and I think can't ask for more than that as a fan. But if you guys want to challenge my take, the floor is yours.
No, I mean, I think it's like anyone with Rey Mysterio is awesome. Everyone loves Rey Mysterio. Like I think it's hard to find someone who's like, I just don't like Rey Mysterio. But to your point, there's only so much suspension of disbelief one can do, and at a certain point, it's like, Rey Mysterio is really looking like up at Batista. Like he's really looking up at some of these challengers, and it's like they are fighting. And at a certain point, even a guy like a Daniel Bryan is shorter, but is stockier, and Ray's just never been that dude. It's cool, but like the 619 takes a lot of setup. You got to kind of do a lot to maneuver into the 619. So like the matches do sometimes kind of end very similarly because he has to like do certain things to get into his moves. But like you're never like Rey Mysterio's like on the flip side of that is one of those guys where it's like there's a random like, oh, Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston gonna have a match tonight. It'll bang. Like Rey Mysterio had that feud with Randy Orton where they were doing like TLC matches and the Hell in a Cell match banged. Like he has a bunch of random feuds like you said that bang, but when he's putting the main event pictures of a combat sport, as Twitter likes to call it, it gets to a point where like, oh, okay, like you're like your son is bigger than you, and Dom's not no big dude. Like Dom's no, Brock Lesnar, but he is significantly larger than Ray.
Yeah. So the timeline of our rewrite, it is 2011. We are just coming off of John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank 2011, where CM Punk defeats John Cena and walks out of the WWE with there being no world champion. Vince McMahon, before he's relieved of his duties, schedules a WWE Championship tournament where they will crown a new WWE champion. The finals of that tournament are Rey Mysterio versus The Miz on the July 25th episode of Monday Night Raw. Rey Mysterio defeats The Miz in a 13-minute match. Alberto Del Rio comes in, tries to cash in. Ray counters that, and Alberto Del Rio goes running. Then Triple H announces midway through the episode, I can do what I want. John Cena is going to face Rey Mysterio for the WWE Championship. John Cena defeats Rey Mysterio for the WWE Championship, and Ray essentially never really gets another chance at the title. They completely move back to the John Cena CM Punk story. The CM Punk returns. So we're going to be rewriting Rey Mysterio's extremely short-lived WWE Championship reign. Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
I just feel like it might have sounded like I was down on Rey Mysterio, but this really felt unjust. Like when I was like researching it and like looking at it, this was kind of me. Like, why did they do this to Rey Mysterio? Like this, it felt me. And so I do want to.
They had a whole champagne shower for him after he won. Like he went back. Like they had the whole locker room watching the match, and then after the match, they were dousing him with champagne. They interviewed him. They had John Cena shake his hand as one of the people.
It's just not right. Like it's just so unnecessary. Like why be so mean to him? But anyway, I think if you really want to right the wrong, and this is like a context thing that like even myself, I was not watching wrestling at this time. So the Alberto Del Rio of it all, why they were so obsessed with him, I simply don't understand. You go through these like matches we do on research, and boy was involved. So like whatever reason he was. But he had actually won Money in the Bank that night, 2011, like you said, in a match with Ray to win the Raw Money in the Bank match. So I think the rewrite starts there, is that you let Ray win. You have him narrowly defeat Del Rio, but you have him win. Then at SummerSlam, you have him cash in against CM Punk, who had just been beaten up by Nash, which again belies the believability of Ray's a smaller guy. He can beat Punk. Cool. Next night, I think Cena comes in. He's like, hey, this is my feud. I want a title shot. In my rewrite for the vacated title, Cena wins that clean. You don't have to do that to Ray. You can just have Cena beat The Miz in the last one. They have the WrestleMania match. They have history. Like you can just have that be the story, and then Ray catches in, whatever. So then he feuds with Cena. And then at Night of Champions, we have John Cena versus Rey Mysterio. Alberto Del Rio comes in and interferes with the match, saying, if I cannot be champion, I'm definitely not going to let John Cena be champion. I was cheated out of my Money in the Bank title match. The next night on Raw, we have a number one contenders match. Alberto Del Rio versus John Cena. The winner will face Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell. Of course, Alberto Del Rio, into the chicanery that he is, with help of Ricardo Rodriguez, wins that match, becomes the number one contender. Over the kind of like you were saying with the Triple H thing, which was kind of fun, he could do whatever he wants. Rey Mysterio goes to Triple H. He says, "Hey, you've been a world champion. We like to win our matches straight up. I think I should face Del Rio in a Hell in a Cell match. Keep Ricardo out of it. They have a lot of history. You could easily, build up the thing of like you have these like proud kind of luchadors, Latin heritage. I think at the time also, if you look at the rosters, there's like 20 wrestlers like combined on both shows. So it's like you really can't go much places with it. But I think you have a Hell in a Cell match with Rey and Alberto Del Rio. Rey Mysterio wins that match cleanly. Afterwards, John Cena approaches Rey again, straight up says, "Hey, I got cheated. I deserve to be champion." As I do. Can't be that simple. So Rey says, "Okay, let me talk to Hunter." Hunter says, "You know what? I like that idea, John, but I can't just give it to you. So you have to win a 6-pack challenge with the likes of JTG, Jack Swagger, Ezekiel Jackson,
What the fuck?
Sheamus, and my guy. Check the books. He was there, people. Jinder Mahal." So, of course, John Cena being Super Cena, Cena that he is, he wins a 6-pack challenge. And at Avengers 2011,
it's a nasty 6-pack challenge,
bro. If you look through the roster and then look who else was tied up in like the IC feud, United States feud, there's truly no one. Like there's no one there. Like you could throw Christian in and have him kind of spin but the roster is very thin at this point.
Yeah.
So that's why I think also you had so many matches with Cena, Punk, about Del Rio because there was only 3, main eventers or whatever. Avengers 2011, Rey Mysterio versus John Cena, a classic 20-minute banger. I wanted to work Dom into this match somehow, but I wasn't sure like what he was doing in his life. But the big swing at this match is that as John Cena is about to win, CM Punk's music hits, the crowd goes nuts. John Cena stunned. Oh, toe trip into the ropes. 619 area code frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Setting up Survivor Series 2011, which was CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio. Now you have CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. CM Punk wins the WWE Championship as he did in real life. Setting the timeline back. John Cena at this point was in a tag match with The Rock against The Miz and R-Truth, just to let you know what they're doing at this point in time. So again, this wasn't one of my best rewrites, but I was not working with a full cupboard, as they say. But I think the main thing is that you give Rey the respect he deserves. Like, he don't have to be champion for 300 days. You don't have to go through a bunch of, clean victories. But I think giving him at least a victory over Alberto Del Rio and John Cena clean, I think you give it the status it needs. Let CM Punk take it, do whatever you want to do with it. Rey can go back to, I think he actually leaves the company shortly after that. He feuds with Sin Cara, and then after 2013, 15ish, he leaves. But yeah, I just think you just kind of extend it a little bit, keep him in that Alberto Del Rio spot, and kind of have him be that kind of third quasi main eventer. A nice Hell in a Cell match with John Cena or Alberto Del Rio, I think, could be really cool. And yeah, you don't embarrass Rey Mysterio.
I'll do mine next. So, some other things that happened on the July 25th episode of Raw, just completely unrelated to my rewrite, but just thought you wanted to know. Eve Torres twerks before doing a moonsault, and Marisa does a stink face to Eve Torres. Fascinating stuff. So, my rewrite begins with the tournament, the vacant WWE Championship tournament that began on July 18th. So Alberto Del Rio, who had just won Money in the Bank, loses his first round matchup to Kofi Kingston. In my rewrite, he wins. Alberto Del Rio, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, makes it to the finals against Rey Mysterio. Now Alberto Del Rio loses in the finals, attempts to cash in, but then John Cena saves Rey. Cena tells Rey that, hey man, you're the champion now. I respect you, but it's my duty to represent this company. And so I have to invoke my rematch clause. So instead of Triple H scheduling the match, John Cena kind of bosses up on Rey, which is crazy because John and Rey knew each other for a while. That they was part of that early SmackDown era together. Rey is that's crazy. But Rey's a fighter. Rey got pride, so he's down to defend his title regardless, even though Rey 9 times out of 10 getting packed up by John Cena. So Cena versus Rey happens. Just as Cena is about to win, CM Punk, who walked out, returns to the WWE, beats them both up, holding his title. So now we've kind of got two WWE champions right now. Now, with Rey and Cena out and Punk taunting, Alberto Del Rio comes out, knocks Punk out, cashes in on Rey Mysterio. So now it's CM Punk as WWE champion, Alberto Del Rio as WWE champion. Triple H is about to book the undisputed WWE Championship match between Punk and Alberto Del Rio for SummerSlam 2011, but then John Cena comes out and says he never got his fair rematch. Rey Mysterio comes out and says he's also entitled to a rematch. So Triple H books a fatal four-way undisputed WWE Championship elimination match for SummerSlam 2011. Now, fatal four-ways are no DQ, as you remember. So, first, as John Cena is entering the match, CM Punk beats John Cena up, like beats him badly. Real bad. Alberto Del Rio helps him. As soon as the bell rings, Punk and Alberto Del Rio eliminate John Cena. They then say, yo, this match was supposed to be us. These guys came in here like real last minute. So they beat Rey up to the point where he has to get stretchered out of the match, leaving Punk versus Alberto Del Rio. Punk is whooping Alberto Del Rio's ass. Looks like, damn, like Punk walked out, came back. He's about to get the title again. Kevin Nash interferes in the match. Instead of beating Punk up after the match, Kevin Nash comes out, and Triple H actually sent him this time. So this is like a submission to the Rey story, but submission. But anyways, so so Kevin Nash jackknives Punk. Alberto Del Rio pins CM Punk, and then Alberto Del Rio celebrating. But the bell never rings. Alberto Del Rio goes to grab the title, comes back to the ring. Rey is back, hits him with the hurricanrana, dials up to 619. Rey wins the WWE Championship in the main event of SummerSlam. So he gets his moment on Raw, and then he gets cashed in on. But then he gets a bigger moment at SummerSlam. It's an amazing payoff. Everyone's happy. Masks are selling. Rey has a big celebration the next night, drives in on a lowrider, all that. So Punk and Nash get into their own feud, which later becomes a Punk Triple H feud. And then Alberto Del Rio comes out the next night during Rey's celebration, and they feud over the WWE title. They have a singles match at Night of Champions. Rey wins that one clean. Then they have a triple threat Hell in a Cell match with John Cena. Alberto Del Rio wins the triple threat Hell in a Cell match by pinning Rey Mysterio. Rey gets a rematch in a last man standing match at Vengeance. Alberto Del Rio retains because The Miz and R-Truth interfered in the match. So, with Rey beefing with The Miz and R-Truth and Cena beefing with The Miz and R-Truth, they engage in a feud with them. But on one night on Raw, Miz and R-Truth just like pack Rey up like crazy, and he's hurt. So he can't work with Cena anymore. And that's when Cena ends up picking The Rock for his partner. So in true WWE fashion, while Rey gets a big moment towards the beginning of the story, he ends up in a pack at the end of the story with no world title, and he's gone. That's my rewrite. Sorry, Rey.
Damn. That was so sad. It started off with so much promise. I was like, wow.
Hey, man, like every Rey Mysterio reign.
As Rey Mysterio is wont to do. You're right.
DC, bring us home.
Let's get fucking crazy, guys. All right. So we're gonna start, with the tournament. And he ends up, winning the tournament. He does get packed up by Cena that night, but after he loses to Cena, they shake hands or whatever. Cena leaves the ring. Rey's still moping around or whatever, and you're like, why is he still around the ring? And he just looks like he's really sad and beat up or whatever. And so then a couple weeks go by or whatever, and then they have a rematch or whatever against Alberto Del Rio as they normally did. And then he loses that one again, and he mopes around the ring just again or whatever. And this plays out how it usually does. Now he has instead of having a real injury, which he later had, he has a kayfabe injury. So he's out for a little bit, just for the rest of the year, right? Royal Rumble 2012 pops around or whatever. Boom, guess who's back? 619 and everybody, blah, blah. It gets to the end of the Rumble or whatever. We don't really care who's in the end of the Rumble because that's not even the big deal. What happens is at the end of the Rumble, Rey is one of the last people in the Rumble or whatever, and it looks like he's about to get thrown out. And then two guys in black hoods come and they throw out the person who's trying to throw Rey out or whatever, right? And then Rey wins. And then Rey looks like kind of confused at first, and the two hooded guys like kind of go away. And he's like kind of like trying to celebrate, but he's confused at the same time. So like on the next like Raw after the Royal Rumble, they're Rey's getting interviewed or whatever, and he's saying like how happy he is, whatever, but he also looks confused at the same time. He gets asked who the hooded people are or whatever, and he's just like, I don't know what happened there or whatever. So then like eventually what happens is at this time, I'm gonna have Alberto Del Rio like still have the championship or whatever because he just wants to get his leg back or whatever. So Alberto Del Rio kind of does the same thing that Randy Orton had done to him a little while ago, which is say like, hey, like you have your title match, with the champion at WrestleMania that you just won or whatever, but at the next pay-per-view, I think it's like No Way Out, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they still had it back then. But like at the next pay-per-view, whatever, let's have a match, and you put up your contendership on the line or whatever, right? So like they have that match or whatever. Rey looks like he's about to lose to him again by submission again or whatever. So for some reason, this match is like no DQ or whatever. On Alberto Del Rio's part because he thinks he's going to be able to use it to his advantage, which he does at one point, whatever. So you're kind of rooting for Rey, and then like it looks like he's about to win by submission again. Boom, two hooded guys come out again and like just crack Alberto Del Rio over the head with like chairs and stuff. They tell Rey to go off and finish him off or whatever. Rey's like, look, I don't want to use the help, but at the same time, I do want to beat this guy. So he goes ahead and he beats the guy or whatever, 619 to a frog splash or whatever. And he still keeps his contender thing or whatever. And they're like, yo, who are these guys or whatever? And we like never really figure it out. This goes on for like a little bit or whatever. Like, he'll have a match here and there and, he'll win some and the guys won't come out. But like when it looks like he's about to lose, they'll take care of the people and like he doesn't know who it is. We get all the way to WrestleMania. He's still got Roberto Del Rio to go up against. He has a match. They have a really good match. Looks like he's gonna lose again or whatever for a second. And then the hooded guys come out or whatever. Alberto Del Rio's already got some people to like work on them, but the hooded guys ended up winning against them. That just all serves as a distraction. Rey Mysterio ends up getting the clean win over Alberto Del Rio or whatever. Alberto Del Rio looks pissed or whatever. He's not like completely knocked out or whatever. He looks pissed or whatever. And it looks like he's about to go attack Rey Mysterio, but then the two hooded guys come up again and they're just like, who are these guys or whatever? And then they like finally take off like their little mask again or whatever. It's Billy Kidman and Rob Van Dam. What? Didn't see that coming. These are two of Rey's tag partners from way back in the past. It turns out that this whole time Rey's tired of playing the nice guy. And he's been having these guys on hand just in case he ever gets into some stuff or whatever to make sure that he wins. And now that he has a championship, they're going to be like basically his two stooges as he goes on to like terrorize the rest of the WWE. So like he goes from like WrestleMania essentially until SummerSlam. I'm going to have him lose that SummerSlam. He goes from like WrestleMania till SummerSlam, just like fucking with people who's fucking with him in the past. So like he fucks with Kane a little bit. He fucks with Mark Henry a little bit. A lot of the big guys that fuck with him in the past. Like he goes through and he like fucks with those people and he has like one-off matches here and there. He gets out of like the title matches or whatnot. But it's like time to pull that card or whatever, and good old Cena comes back calling around and he just loses it to Cena, and Cena like somehow gets around the distractions from Kidman and Van Dam at SummerSlam, and then that's how he loses it. But for like a few months you get to see Rey Mysterio be the boss of a faction and like not playing the nice guy anymore and actually fucking with people. So that's my rewrite.
I like it. I was really interested in where it was gonna go. I was like, is Dominic gonna be one of the guys in the hoodie? Like but that was dope. That was dope. I like that.
I really thought I would be the first person to work Billy Kidman into a rewrite, and I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. That was beautiful.
Dude, as soon as I was going through Ray's history, as soon as I saw his name, I was like, oh, he's fucking coming back. I'm putting him back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are our rewrites for Rey Mysterio's short-lived or not so short-lived 2011 WWE title reign. Again, this week you got pre-write, you got the free write, and if you are a member of the Patreon, you got some fun conversation about how many classic albums does Drake have and a random match that we all love. Not to mention the Before We Write trivia segment. If you're not subscribed, patreon.com/TheAShowRNC. We are the men with the pen. I'm Armon. That's Cece. That's Chan. We'll be back with you soon. But for now, enjoy this episode. We'll see y'all.